Haha, we're live. I love how it pops up. You are live. So,
Just
hey
to
everybody,
remind
we're back. Yes, just to let you know, just in case. So you guys, we are very excited. It's June 1st. Woohoo! Kind of the unofficial kickoff to summer after Memorial Weekend. And we are kicking off our weekly series on Wednesdays of having conversations with folks that are influential and experts in the online arena, marketing experts and things like that. And they have specific skill sets that they work on. And we are very excited to have Lisa Haas with us today. She is a marketing and communications professional, trainer, and coach. Hey, Lisa.
Hello, Michelle. Thank you so much for having me today. I'm excited to kick off summer with you. I actually
Yes.
live up in the mountains and got 8 inches of snow this morning. So I'm hoping I didn't miss summer, but
Right. So hashtag not quite summer in the mountains here in Colorado. So yeah, it was pretty funny. I saw a bunch of my friends post. It was just raining and dreary down here in Brighton. So you guys got the fun stuff. But so we wanted to jump in. It was important for us because, and I've worked with Lisa in the past. She is amazing. But we love to be able to share information with people so that they can understand just what marketing is and how important it is to really grow your brand and get things going for your online presence. Right?
absolutely. I think
Mhm.
first of all, the topic of marketing in general can be so incredibly broad. What I'm excited about the invitation today is we're really going to talk about measurement, which people so often in marketing, when they start to look at their P's of marketing, the product and
Mhm.
price and place, they go directly to promotion without really thinking about, how are they going to measure the effectiveness and whether or not it's working. Back in the 1900s, when I started marketing in newspaper advertising, only thing I could really track was circulation numbers and maybe a
Right.
coupon code versus nowadays I can track, some stuff that might make you want to live on the side of a mountain off grid because it can be a little creepy, which is where I live, by the way.
Right.
But
Exactly.
if you're not measuring, you're not marketing really, and then you can end up wasting a lot of time, money, energy, resources, especially in that small business market where you've got a pretty tight market budget anyway. So I think looking at the measuring of marketing, I think is really such an important topic. So I'm happy to kick that one off as we start your Wednesday, your Wednesday
Yes,
podcast.
measurements. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I put that up as a comment because I think that that's a really big thing to look at. Just like you were saying, especially for someone who's an independent business owner, entrepreneur, or something like that, rather than spending thousands of dollars, doing stuff, you need to look at what is actually working and how you can measure your results of who's engaging with you and who isn't.
Absolutely. Well, and when marketing really, as it evolved over the years, originally was just a branding exercise. How do you keep yourself top of mind and market share recollection and perception of your brand? And now we've moved into a lot more revenue. We're in charge of revenue production, which is very different for the marketing industry than it was even 10
Mhm.
years ago. So knowing how to measure the activity that you're putting into marketing also has the value of job security to prove you truly are affecting not only just the bottom line, but affecting the goals and the objectives of the organization that you're working for, whether you're there as a consultant or you're there as an internal resource.
Mhm. And I think, it's also learning a lot too. Like I'll just throw this in here just now. I use StreamYard for as my platform to do these Facebook lives. And with this is going on our YouTube channel as well. Well, silly me, I had no idea that I could actually show the comments on the YouTube channel as well. You can see YouTube right here. So it's just, it's getting in there and playing with stuff and learning how it's going to benefit you the best way possible.
Absolutely. And then putting some sort of measurement around it. So not only do I get engagement and comments, but week over week, is that growing? Or do I see trending topics that people are more interested or more engaged with versus topics that may be falling more flat on your audience?
Right, right. So one thing we were going to talk about today, because, and for us, this is with Top Hat, this is the basis, basically the foundation of our company and how we work with our clients is Google, all things Google, your Google business page, and how important it is to have that and have that be current, correct, have show it some love with some posts and stuff like that. But you and I are going to dig a little deeper today and talk about Google Analytics.
Yes, it's one of my I have a love-hate relationship with Google Analytics. I want it to give me more information, but I also want to maintain privacy for my end users. So there's
Right.
this kind of balance that happens. First, when you talk about Google Analytics, I want to preface there's a really big update happening over the next 12 months, which is why this topic is so important right now. That if people are measuring their website using tools like Google Analytics
Mhm.
specifically, knowing that we're moving from a universal analytics platform to a GA4, a Google Analytics 4.0 kind of platform, means that there's some things you're going to want to change now and let the two systems run in tandem over the next 12 months, because we might be losing some historical data as universal analytics leaves. So
Mm.
now is the time to take the action to really embrace what Google Analytics is, how it works for your organization, and really how you can use it as a great measurement tool.
Right. And
Before you go ahead.
go ahead.
Before you go too deeply into the analytical side of things, just kind of understanding why you're marketing and what do you want to really measure, walking into those conversations first
Mhm.
will help provide insight into your reporting tools versus going to the reporting tool first, which is a very
Right.
common mistake. People are like, oh, I wonder what it'll show me, instead of, I wonder if I can find out from this tool this bit of information I'm looking for.
Right, right. And that's one thing that we do with our clients is we keep track. We go look at quarterly how they're doing, how they're showing up during a search, whether people are calling them directly from that search. I mean, there are just so many pieces of information you can get from these analytics that you're looking at.
You truly are. I think what big distinction that I like to bring in when I'm teaching analytics, because I teach courses on this topic as well at a academic level, that you can measure anything. So instead of measuring vanity metrics, which just make you feel good because you can get
Yeah.
a like to move, you want to really measure actionable items like a click-through rate or a cost per click,
Hmm.
or even funnel flow. I can measure behavior of someone walking through a website and seeing, where do I lose them readily? Or do they get all the way into my shopping cart and something disrupts them? There's ways to measure in the site that are actionable oriented, which again, that goes back to that job security of, here, I was able to impact the organization by increasing leads, click-through rates, funnel drop-off rates reduced, versus just a like, an impression.
Right.
Those are easy numbers to measure, and they certainly have some value. But when you're really going to take the time to measure what's important in your business, measuring an actionable item is so much more important.
Absolutely. Well, and I think for us, our clients that we work with, say, for example, doctors, independent doctors who have their own practices and things like that, they're looking at how Google helps them convert new patients. When
Mhm.
someone's searching for them, is that person actually walking through the door or calling and making an appointment, at the very least? So, understanding those analytics or working with a company that can help you understand those analytics is incredibly important before you just start tossing money out the door on marketing.
You bet. And remember, when we first established marketing, it's very foundational. There's a lot of test, track, adjust happening where
Mhm.
you'll drive a strategy and a campaign and a tactic, towards a target market. And the more you can create a repeatable event, the more optimized you get with the result you're looking for.
Mhm.
Using analytics can help inform that strategy, those results you're looking for, and tell you where to optimize versus sort of stabbing in the dark, or spray and pray is one of my favorites. Where you just kind of shoot it out there to the
Yeah.
world and pray that something comes back for you. So,
Right.
understanding those analytics or working with a team that does understand analytics is great. Plus, I hear a lot of people, they abdicate. Oh, you're the marketer, just do whatever. And I prefer to be directed and controlled, even as a consultant, of,
Mhm.
here's the numbers that we have. Can you see how things are moving towards the goal or the objective that you have?
Right.
And I think that's a shift in our industry that's been happening over the last 10 years,
Hmm.
and that more of our small business owners, at least learning foundationally what can be measured, helps them ask their consultants and their employees what it is that they really need to feel that there's effective investment in their marketing programs.
Absolutely. Well, I know from, our standpoint, and I'll bet you'll agree, is that the more the owner of the company or the practice or whatever is, the more engaged they are and the more they meet with us and we go over things, the more successful they're going to be.
It's amazing. It's like a direct one-to-one energy.
Hmm.
I ran a social media agency for 8 years and then pivoted, and now I'm into a lot more strategy and full on all marketing. And I used to talk a lot about people really just wanted access to one another, have an
Hmm.
authentic exchange, be acknowledged when they're there. When I find that an entrepreneur or business owner lines up with their marketing team or consultant and then engages with the strategies that are in place, go onto the social networks and then talk to your audience,
Hmm.
look at your own reviews and respond to a few organically. Um, there's this direct energy correlation that I see numbers and statistics go up. I
Hmm.
could tell by looking at a website month over month whether or not someone was engaged with their marketing or they weren't. If someone was just posting content versus someone engaging with content. And it's different when it's the owner versus an outsourced person. An outsourced
Hmm.
person can absolutely lay the landscape, share with you where to click, how to engage, keep you bumpered so that you don't say anything wrong or out of
Right.
context. But when you literally are the one who goes to the table and makes the comment, there is a direct correlation with a statistic that goes with that. It's really fascinating.
Oh yeah, and honestly, I can tell because we manage some Google business pages for our clients. I can tell the difference. Try as I might to sound like the doctor or the practitioner, whoever. It is a huge difference when they actually go in and make a comment and thank someone for leaving a review,
Oh, yeah.
or just hop on there. So you are absolutely right. I think they don't have to do it all the time because of course they've got their business to run, but jumping in there occasionally does make a difference.
If nothing else, at least meeting with your marketing team and feeding them really what they need. They'll ask
Yes.
you. They'll ask you. You just got to answer the questions.
Right,
Anyway,
exactly.
rough trap over analytics here, although kind of.
Yeah. Right. Well, and I think that with a lot of people, they just get really scared about analytics themselves. They look at it as homework and stuff. They're just like, oh, I don't want to talk about it.
Mhm.
And I really think the more that we stress to them, just as an example, I have clients that just did not want to do Facebook Lives. They don't want to do things like this. They're like, oh, nobody wants to hear what I have to say. Well, I twist the arm, finally got them to do it, and their engagement has skyrocketed because people can see that how authentic they are
Mhm.
as a practitioner. They can see that they're very invested in their patients and they want them to be successful, after treatment or whatever. And just being able to get to know the doctor, on the Facebook Live has just increased their engagement and people following them on their social media. And they've actually increased phone calls into the office to make appointments. So,
Brand awareness, establishing expertise, authentic exchanges with your audience are all going to lead to business. All of those are marketing tactics, that you
mhm,
use to drive engagement. The key around an analytic is, are you tracking the leads? Are you tracking the phone
mhm,
calls? Are you asking, where'd you hear about us? Are you watching people go through the website to the contact page? Are they filling out the form? So if you're going
mhm.
to go out and do a Facebook Live, then pay attention. Do you see small spikes in traffic happening? Or even in your Google My Business page, did I get more phone calls on Wednesdays because I do that thing every Wednesday,
Right. Yeah.
right?
Mhm. Oh, absolutely. I just, I think when I take a step back and I look at some of the clients that we've worked with in the past, and they're like, "Oh, well, I spent $10,000 over here." And I was like, "Well, they didn't. measure anything for you. They didn't, show you you shouldn't be posting on Fridays. Your audience, you're not getting anything. You should be posting on Thursday afternoons at 3 p.m. There was no strategy based around previous analytics and looking forward. And then once they started working with this company saying, okay, where are we going from here?
Absolutely. You hear so much about search engine optimization and SEO. It's
Hmm.
that optimization word that seems to be lost. This isn't some trick. It's not some magical link that you put on your website. It's not some long tail, short tail word strategy. All of those things can certainly come into play and help, but optimize is the key. I don't know how many times I work with a client, we run a campaign, they say, "Oh, I didn't get everything I wanted out of it. I got some, but I didn't get everything, and so therefore it didn't work," and they never do it again.
Yeah.
Instead of, let's try it again and tweak this section of this area you think didn't quite work and change the language here, or moving into even A/B testing, multivariate testing, where you take two Facebook ads and they're exactly the same, and the only thing that's changed is the picture. You
Hmm.
know, those small tweaks are what optimizes, and then you don't have to keep reinventing the wheel. You
Right.
start to learn what marketing tactics work for your organization, and then you don't have to measure everything. You don't have to be overwhelmed with the analytics. You look at
Hmm.
5 key performance indicators, and then you optimize those to get the result you're looking for. And then you take one, it works for one model or one product or one service. You take the same tactic, you tweak the language for the next thing you're rolling it out, and now you place it in front of that group. So,
Hmm.
marketing is an evolution of a business system. It's not just some magical coupon or, some new system or technology that's going to put you out in front of everyone and grow your business. It's a program just like your accounting, your finance, your product development, all of those things that evolve over time with your business, and your marketing program should be the same. And let
Hmm.
the scientific data called analytics inform that.
Exactly. Well, and I think, you can make tweaks and adjustments here and there without coming up with a whole new marketing plan. You're like, okay, we've got this strategy in place. It isn't working so well over here. So let's tweak this a little bit. There doesn't need to be a complete and total overhaul all the time because, we tell our clients, and I'm sure you do too, it takes anywhere from 6 months to a year to really start gaining traction and getting things going when you have a strategy in place, especially when you weren't doing anything or not doing it well previously.
Exactly. The other factor is because evolution of technology is happening so quickly, you can't catch up to the technology changes if you don't have some historical data. You have to
Hmm.
run something for a year before you all of a sudden realize, oh, the algorithm, one of the social networks changed because I had a huge drop in one of those and nothing that I did changed.
Hmm.
Then again informs you, I've got to go back in now and rework that strategy. But unless you run something for a long period of time, you're going to really struggle to find those anomalies, which are really what inform something has changed. And
Yeah.
you can't read all of the marketing magazines and articles and blogs out on the planet and keep up with it. I can't even do that, and I'm in this industry every day and still struggle to keep up with the changes.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's one thing we joke about. I mean, it is, you want to talk about Facebook is bad enough with the way they change their algorithms, but Google, they'll change stuff with zero announcement, zero notification. And all of a sudden you're looking at stuff going, what just happened? It was not like this 2 hours ago.
Absolutely.
So it's very fluid. So you're right. I mean, it's even us doing this for years and having all this background. Every now and then we're like, okay, now now
We're
we go this way.
totally lovely. So on that
Right.
note, in the keeping with changing, I started this with wanting to share a little bit about Google Analytics and what's shifting there. And I'd like to talk real quickly about 3 things you may want to measure on your website
Awesome.
in relation to how these analytics are changing to kind of keep us here on time.
Hmm.
So first, I mentioned universal analytics. Let's talk about the history of Google Analytics really quickly. It started with what's called classic analytics, where they put a little bit of code and they kind of measured everything, every click, every hit, every kind of page you were on. But there wasn't a lot of real information about the individual. It was really more kind of a bucket system of,
Hmm.
in a bucket, we can kind of see that this is people coming from your direct network or from a Google search. Then we moved to universal analytics, and universal analytics started to give us a little bit more information about event marketing, meaning when I was on your website and I clicked a button, I had the ability to now measure that click,
Mhm.
specifically that it was to that button. Or a download of a PDF, specifically be able to measure that. I couldn't always tell who with a lot of intelligence, but I could see that the action occurred. So conversion metrics and Google Tag Manager was born through the ages
Mhm.
of Universal Analytics. For any of my fellow geeks on who might be listening to this. So GA4 is the latest and greatest coming out. They'll be sunsetting Universal Analytics over the next 12 months, rolling out GA4, which is now available and out. It's a real easy one-click install to your website if you have Google Analytics in place.
Mhm.
Get a hold of your web developer or someone who understands that side of things to do it for you if you don't get it yourself. And what it's done is it's changed now where it's assigning users and their actions on a website with more intelligence with artificial learning. So AI is coming into play.
Mhm.
And also now able to distinguish based on other identification information available about me on the internet when I happen to go to a different website, when I'm on my phone versus my tablet versus my
Mm.
and in the universal, it would count me as 3 different people in that event, and now it knows that I'm one person.
Wow.
So it's really gonna be able to give us more information about how really engaged are people with your content,
Mhm.
where traffic is coming from that's maximized, and how much time is being spent from that particular network. Now, some of the stuff that was in Universal Analytics is coming over into the new GA4 platform. For example, things I just mentioned, like time on a site.
Right.
But we're gonna be able to now get some really different kinds of insights about really where events are happening, which page are buttons getting clicked, and which content's really getting pushed, downloaded. And not
Mhm.
that Lisa necessarily is downloading it, but I've got my own little serial number on the internet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 is the same person in all 3 of these places doing this action.
Okay. That's
So
awesome.
if you have not yet converted, my first recommendation of an action item as a result of listening to this is be sure to add GA4 to your Google Analytics world.
Okay.
If you don't know what that means, either Google it, it'll tell you how, or find the person who runs your website with the Google Analytics installed and ask them to change it over. You'll run them
Okay.
in tandem.
Okay.
The second thing is get curious about what your analytics provides you. Go in and look and see. One of the first things I would ask is go in and see if you can find your top traffic source. If nothing, the AI in Google Analytics is intelligent enough that there's a search button at the very top that you can ask it questions like, what is my top traffic source during the month of May? So
Okay.
it will answer you. Now, the GA4 is still a little dumb. The smart technology is still kind of being installed. As we all know with Google, they roll things out kind of sort of, and then they wait for us to come along and add suggestion and fix. That's why these two are going to run in tandem for the next year.
Right.
Okay. So just be aware some of the functionality you'll see in GA4 isn't quite as robust as what you find in Universal Analytics. So
Okay.
ask yourself a question and go ask your website a question about, for example, finding your top traffic sources.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect.
And then the last thing that I usually ask people to take a look at is really start to understand your audience. If you go in and say, what's the age group or the demographic for my top visitors? That's another one that will tell you they're 18 to 24 or
Mhm.
25 to 32, where you can start to really understand much more intensely the demographic of the individual coming to your website. And then you can take that information and target it on a Facebook ad or an Instagram ad and say, I just want to talk to that 18 to 24-year-old who I know comes to my website.
Right. Right.
Those are 3 really easy actionable items. Set up GA4, find out what your top traffic source is, and find out what your top demographic of visitor is.
Awesome.
Nice and
I
easy.
love that. That's super easy.
Good.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to scroll something across the bottom of the screen. Ooh, let me go back here, and there's just so many buttons. Go back here, and I want to share your information because I know that you are, being a trainer and a coach. you're also an educator. You teach classes on all of this. And I will tell you guys, I have known Lisa for several, many lots years, and she is very, very good at what she does.
Thank
And so I was honored that she was willing to come on and do this with us um, uh, on Wednesdays. She's going to be the first Wednesday of the month was when we'll have Lisa on. So you guys will be able to, converse. You can add comments, questions, and stuff like that. She and I will be on here, or we have another co-host, Brett, my business partner, who will be running these as well. But I highly recommend reaching out to Lisa and working with her, because she is amazing.
Thank you so very much. Yeah, if you visit my website, there's a little 15-minute discovery session that, it's easy to just set up complimentary, and let's talk about what problem you might be having as far as marketing in your business. And maybe statistics is going to give you the answer you're looking for. If nothing
Exactly.
else, I also find accountability and a nice swift kick in the butt sometimes is what it takes you to get you to the next level. So that's why the coaching part, my accountability coaching, is very important sometimes in the world of marketing.
I love it. I love it. We are accountability partners, monthly accountability partners. And she's not kidding about the kick in the butt, because, I get that occasionally. So yeah, so it's
We all,
awesome. I
we
love
all
it.
need it.
We all need it. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right, Lisa, thank you so much. And we will chat with you again the first Wednesday of July.
Excellent. I'll have something fantastic for you. Thank you so much for having me today.
You're welcome. Bye.